Good morning, everyone. This is Biz Chicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools that help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And today we are talking about your money. We're here with my co-host, Ms. Francine Gregory, real estate entrepreneur and tech diva. I'm Terralina from California Cover-Ups, and our guest hostess today is Miss Caren Fern. Can you guys hear me? The guy decided to use the blower.
You're fine. Keep going.
Outside my window as I started the intro.
Next time, don't say anything because it was fine. We couldn't hear all of that. Just keep talking.
All right, good. Thank goodness. There he goes. All right. So today we're here with our money mindset coach, Miss Caren Fern, all the way from Toronto, Canada. She's here to help us get our mind right so we can do business better. And hey, hopefully it's all about getting this shifted to the right position. So welcome, Caren.
Thank you.
With your Island Girl hustle. So guys, get your coffee, sit back, relax. Let's see Coach Caren. How you doing today?
I'm good. So today is Wednesday and we're talking about money and mindset. I'm just going to do a brief recap of last month. We were in October, and last month we talked about setting goals for the new year, and we talked about the discipline of it. We talked about turning the discipline into systems, and then we continue on the goal and having you get things organized, planned out, and what have you. This month we're getting there. Folks, here in November. The second to last month of the year, and we're still on this journey so that we can make 2019 shine bright like a diamond. And to have that happen, we have to prep our minds for that possibility for the new year. So today, this month of November, we're going to be talking a lot about money. We're going to be talking about it, expanding it, going deep, going a little wide, and looking at it from all angles. And part of what I'm going to be teaching in my program is about Money 101. And I think it really needs to be taught because it's just one of those things that it's either we're afraid to talk about it or we're panicking about it. And then we get it out of it right away. So it's so much things happen within money, and it usually started us personally before they extend to our business. Even if we're having struggles in our business, it really started us. So I pulled this out of a book. So there's a few things out of a book I'm reading I'm going to pull and talk about it a little bit first before I dive in. And one of the things, it's written by John. This book's not written by John, but he has this phrase. I think Jim Ron liked to talk about it too. John Wesley. He says, gain all you can, save all you can, and then give all you can. And that simple mentality allows you to understand when you do so, you really live your richest life ever. Because nobody who store up money is really happy with themselves. I'm telling you. And I talk about money in the sense of they don't give to anybody. They become Scrooges. They don't like people. They're afraid somebody's going to take their money. They can be happy because they saved up. They gained all they can. They saved all they can. But then they not giving it away to anybody. That's why when most people can't get out to the struggle bus, making good money, they become philanthropists. They start doing those things because now I'm living comfortable. I can pay all my bills. I can do beyond my bills. I can help these 100 people I had in my mind. Now I can go beyond that. And that's when they see their lives are so much richer. The other thing is, that's why when you go to poor countries and you see people are happy, and you're like, well, they don't have nothing, how they're happy. Because they also don't have the burden that you have in this place, North America, anywhere where life is good. In England, North America, any one of these countries where it's more developed. We are more developed, but we also have the bigger burden to carry. And if we haven't understand money, the burden is not only big, but it's heavy. So today we're talking about business 101. And I also want to talk a little bit about the Bible. This is important, whether you ever read the Bible or not, and most people that listen to us have. So what I'm going to talk about, it's new news. But this little part here, I really love how put it. The Bible offers much wisdom about the place and pitfalls of money. For example, it contains approximately 500 verses on prayer and more than 500 verses on faith, but almost 2,000 verses on money and possessions, often pointing out how there are stumbling blocks to personal and spiritual growth. Scripture reminds us of the importance of trusting our livelihood and security to God, and that the distribution of wealth is completely within His providence. So why should we concern with managing our money if the love of it is indeed the root of all evil and ultimately beyond our control to boot? There are several reasons. First, God expects us to be good stewards of whatever gifts He's given us. We are not to become possessed or obsessed, but we use it to live as richly as possible. That's what He expects of us. So when we hear it's the root of all evil, what happens is we stop. We don't go any further into, most people don't want to dive into, because panic starts happening. Money has had this effect on us, whether we understand it or not, that we only will read or keep in our mind the part, especially when we hear about evil. And it's a frightening thought. I remember when I was afraid about money, just because I heard it spoken in a church service and how the pastor emphasized it, I was nervous. I was frightened in a sense. He wasn't as great. I shouldn't say he wasn't as great. He wasn't delivering as well as the pastors I find these days.
But Caren, let me add this. It doesn't say the love of money is the.
It doesn't say that money is the root of evil.
It says
evil.
It's just the love of
money
is the root of all evil. So, in other words, when money becomes your God, that's when evil takes over. The Bible clearly says, and I'm not saying this to you, Caren, because I know you know, it clearly says money answereth all things. Well, if you don't have it, how are you going to answer?
Exactly. But people only, like you're so right, Terry, you're saying what I'm saying, because people only pick out, though, the part of it.
They took it out of context.
Yes. And when you do, you are without. You are really get yourself in that place because you're not into the full understanding. You're really not anymore. And if you don't, you need to go understand and have it explained to you so you can understand. And just what Terry's saying, God would not allow us to have the thing that He knows that fulfill the needs. He knows we need to. He wouldn't allow it. I don't care who you are. You wouldn't be allowed to make money. He just wouldn't.
We were talking about this just yesterday evening, the fact that the majority of miracles took place in the marketplace. 90% of the recordings of where Jesus went recorded Him in the marketplace.
Yeah. He's around people who were doing business.
Okay, he was hanging out with folks that were making money too.
Thank you.
Everybody had to be able to afford the stuff to anoint his body. I mean, come on, folks. Someone loaned him a tomb to be buried in. That man was not struggling.
All right.
He was not on the struggle bus, right?
All right.
Just saying. Get some rich friends, people.
Yes.
Or be a rich friend.
Yeah, and if you want to be honest, just tell them, I want to hang around you so I can learn what you know already. Like, I don't want anything from you. I just want to hang around you so you could learn, so I could learn what you know already. And people love to teach you. They don't like you when you're begging them, but they love to teach you. All right. That is so important. And you have to the other thing about money, you have to understand, and I know you ladies, we talk about it all the time. If you want $1 million, you're going to have to start at 10 cents or maybe $10 to get to the million. Nobody gets to the $1 million right away. Nobody gets to $1 million right away. I'm going to say the third time. Nobody gets to that $1 million right away. You need 10 cents, you need $10, $100, and all those other things to get you to that $1 million. Fact of life. So, number one we're going to talk about today is giving from what you have been given. This allows you to live richly. Giving from what you have been given. And number two, we're going to talk about Coach Caren money principles. I'm going to bring that back to the table. It is such an important topic that it's coming back to the table. We're going to talk about it. And because it got a lot of sections, I don't know that I'm doing more than two today. I might get to the third, but I'm going to talk about the two today. The third I had in mind for us to look into is talking about when something starts and when it stops, really and truly, and what happens in between. I don't know if you girls had seen the Crazy Rich Asian, the movie.
I did.
Okay. And Kevin Kwan, he was saying that when he was deciding where to move, if it's going to be shown on Netflix versus the theater, the movie theaters, it was he had to decide what he was going to do with this because he wanted to build upon more than just the movie. And he said Netflix was great because they were offering up money in advance. He was going to get money in advance. Whereas if he went how he went, it was less of an upfront sort of money situation. Mm-hmm. But you would have this continuous flow and recognition, and more people would get to work because we see the first part, but there's lots more coming. And so he know the bigger picture. So in his mind, where do I want to be? Do I want to get so much $1 million from Netflix up front, or do I want to maybe get less money but have this bigger dream fulfilled? And he said he said to himself, and when he made the decision, he went ahead knowing that maybe nobody would come, maybe he would be a bust, maybe all these things were possible, but he was willing to go after it because that was his dream, that was what he was going to do, and so he did it the way that we get to receive it, and it worked out well. Now, one of the things he talked about is that if it didn't go as well as it did, he would also have to be okay with it not going well and with the decision. And that is the important part, people. You need to understand whatever door you open and went through, you have to really understand where it's going to lead you and not worry about the door that you didn't go through. And that is hard because most of us, we keep thinking, that's why we talk about the grass is greener on the other side, because we want to go through the door that we didn't open, because we want to make that would have been the better door. Because if it's good, it's a good door. But if it didn't turn out good, then it's not a good of a door. And he said the same thing for him. When he, I still forget what the other thing that he was getting into, and it offered less money, he went through that door because of what he knew was his bigger picture. And because today we are November, the second to last month of the year, and we're talking about our dreams and our hopes and goals and plans and faith that we believe in the gifts and talents that God has given us to take us into 2019, we have to keep remembering what that is about, so that the pitfalls and anything that happened in 2018 is the lessons that needed to be taken into consideration, and understand them, learn them, pray about them, get into your quiet place so that you can use those tools for 2019. They weren't placed in your path just because God didn't know what else to do with himself or he just stepped aside and allowed them. They are there to make 2019 be better for you and the people you serve, your family, your friends. It's there for a whole bunch of other reasons that, yes, you don't know yet, but you'll see them come to pass. So I want you to keep that in mind. My little spiel. Anything to add, ladies?
I just like the idea of calling it lessons learned as opposed to mistakes. You know what I'm saying? When we do workshops, we refer to these things as best practices, lessons learned. Yes. And so they are shared, and they talk about how to circumvent a lot of this stuff that keeps us from being successful in the marketplace.
Yes, for sure. This morning as I had my shower, and the thought of mine was it came to me. I went to the washroom, and this thought just keep bugging me and keep going around in circles. And anytime it's floating around, I know I have to, even if I just lightly touch on it. And I was thinking about Murphy. You know how we say, oh, Murphy laws. You know, the minute you're doing something great, Murphy tax fee. And the reason Murphy, you know, you can never get rid of him, it's because he's part of yourself. Self knows. Self knows when you're lying. Self knows when you're fibbing. Self knows when you half truthing. Self knows. So self don't leave you. Murphy is self reminding you that, hey, no girl, you lied to Terry, you lied to Fran, but you don't lie to Karen. She knows.
And I think a lot of times Murphy is just self-fulfilling because we speak it out of our mouths. You know what I'm saying to you?
He also is. He let us see whatever it is we say is so. He brings all the consequences and all the situations and everything from the environment to you to fulfill exactly what it is you say that you can or can do. And he's also your little negative part of you who says, well, I tell you couldn't get that done, you know. And so all these different things were just tumbling down in my head. You know, I went into my younger Caren days. I went into my 20 Caren days. And I was literally, I thought to myself that I literally was having this full-on speech, if you will, in the bathroom, right? I'm like, my first speech that I would give would be talking about Murphy and how it really evokes us and how we behave when these things come upon us, whatever it is we set out to do, whatever it is that didn't happen the way we set for the course, you know, whatever that thing is, right? And one of the biggest, well, three things really pop in my mind. The first was when I tell you guys I started selling my oranges to the girl, and the girl that I was selling my oranges to, she was in a worse, dire situation than I was in, but I didn't know. But because of selling her the oranges, the conversation, you know, get expanded, and I realized that I started seeing how lucky I was because I was in school. And she was about 12 or 13, and she wasn't in school. She was taken out of school so she could care for the younger siblings, you know. And so they had her at home. And I tell you, the orange was my greatest story of starting my business. But what it did for me in the form of giving back, everything I learned at school, I would bring and give it to her. Because I keep saying to her, whatever you get to school, I don't want you to fall behind. Now, there's no way that we could know she would get back in school. Because we didn't have the power. I was 9 and she was 12 or 13. I couldn't get her back in school. She couldn't get herself back in school. But we started devising a plan. You know, she was living with her stepmom. Her dad was a seaman. So I said, whenever he come in from sea, we're going to talk to him and get you back at school. But while you're off school, everything I learned, I'm going to bring gift to you. And because she was open, I would get my lessons, and I had to be top of my game because I need to come and teach it so that she can get it. So everything I learned, she got. And so whenever her dad was there, and she did get back to school, by the way, she was able to get back in class and be ready to go.
Can I say something? Your business, and I'm talking to everyone, your business is an opportunity to put you in front of someone that you can help. And it may not be with your business that you help them. Caren just told us she was able to change this young woman's life by selling her some oranges. But the oranges just was the entryway to help her with a bigger problem.
It was a segue into a conversation.
And it was to solve a bigger problem for her. The oranges were they were significant, but they were really insignificant because the oranges was just the door opening in order for her to help her get to a different place. A lot of times our businesses, we think that we're supposed to sell, get 6 figures to do something so we can go sit on a beach someplace. We're there to help people get somewhere. It's not for us to have it all. We can have it all, but it's not just for us to have it all. Our businesses are a way to gives us influence. I think that's it.
Exactly. And I'm sure that's why God bring that through, because I haven't even remembered. I tell you guys, most times I don't even remember certain things that have happened, but then things will just pop in my head, and then there it is, I need to speak on. because today was money, to be honest. This month wasn't about money, but I keep hearing that I'm supposed to do, so that's why we're talking about money again this month. I have my own agenda for this month. And because the stories were just so clear in my head as I take my shower, I was like, that's not what I want to talk about. And then I keep, as I said, I understood why I needed to talk about it today. And Fran, you clear up, you've just clear up what's in my head and mind that I wasn't bringing. You are so right. Every single thing, I know that every single thing I do, it's not the way I might have set out to do it, but the way it's supposed to be done.
There you go. Now, my question to you is this woman now a mother, a grandmother? Where is she now?
I don't know where she is.
School.
I can tell you she finished school.
That's it.
Yes, you know where we met for the second time. I was pregnant with my eldest son. I was in the hospital. And she was next to me. And I didn't know it was her. My skin is getting goosebumps as I talk. I didn't know it was her.
So was she in the maternity ward? Was she having
in the maternity ward?
So then you also influenced the family. Do you understand where I'm going with? It's much bigger than one person and an orange. It's and we think it's just,
She was married. She was a police officer.
Which she couldn't have been if she hadn't finished school. Do you understand where I'm going with this, friend?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See that it was more than just the orange. You could have been okay and cool with selling her the orange and gotten whatever monies for the orange and just went on your happy way, but you didn't stop at selling the orange. And by the way, people, we're talking about orange sections. We're not talking about the whole orange.
Caren, doesn't find us.
And that's a story you have to tell, Caren. I'm talking about even if you're telling it here and you're telling parts of it, but that's a story that needs to be told about even the audacity to sell sections of the orange and not the entire orange.
Yeah. And I told you ladies this was before, but I say it again. I did not understand in my youth, earlier on, about the importance of the segment of the oranges. I did not understand it initially. I get it, but I didn't understand it. It took me years to really... It took me years, and it took me a good friend of mine, Nigel. At the time, I was just feeling really low in my life. Just some bad things were happening. And, he sat me down and he said to me, and I forgot I told him about the orange story. He said, "You've done things in your life that I've taken several pages out and used for myself." He says, "I've taken several pages out. Some of the pages I can't talk to you about right now, but some pages I've taken. You've known of some of them. I've known of some of them. Yeah." And, he digged me out of some, I was in a dark place at the time. I was really sad. Really in a sad situation. And, you don't recognize when you're doing it. Because most people would sell orange, you're right. Because at that time, 5 oranges were sold. This is how I always say, God, it's so mysterious and so grand. 5 oranges were sold for 25 cents. And people know they can buy them. But yet they'd buy a segment from me for 5 cents without thinking. It was never a hard sell. But because he knew that he had work for me to do, obviously, he allowed them to buy the figs. And in helping me to sell figs of oranges, I'd help, the girl I'm talking about. I'd help Jenny, the lady I talk about in my Little Dribbles book. Mm-hmm. And just several other people within that community. I mean, when I look back, and that's why I teach all of this of what I've done before, because when I look back, I realize I've always teach and sold to people in my community. And that community don't only be in the street I live, but that community is the people who I surround myself with, who I meet, who turn into friends, relationships, and all that sort of stuff that I sell to. And beyond, because of course they tell their friends, and the sales cycle get bigger. But it really starts with those connections with those people that buy from me. And I'm listening to their stories, because usually if somebody tell me a story and I see that they're struggling, my first thought is, how can I help?
Mm-hmm.
How can I help you beyond the item you're buying from me? Like, what is it that I have within me that I can help? And not only telling you the words, but how can I really and truly help? And when we're selling as business owners, that's what we really want to know when we talk to people. We want to know how we can genuinely help them. And don't be afraid to ask, because even if it's not big, one little thing that you can help somebody with will take them into where their next step, maybe just the next step of where they need to be. Maybe that's all that you're supposed to do.
Right. And I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. Perhaps you should revisit the Hustle Chronicles and tell these stories.
Absolutely.
You can do a live and do a chronicle every week about a different story. Wherever you do it, you need to tell these stories.
And let them know where they can find the book with the additional stories. I love the fact that we have so many lessons to share.
Me too. So how could you want to get there right away? Because if you don't go down your journey, if you don't experience certain things, if you don't have the tenacity to want to, like you have to, you just have to. Because those are the things going to get you to the place that you're heading, that God had set up for you already. You're going to get there anyway. He's going to get you there anyway. And these little things that's happening along the way, it's really good to help you get yourself there and to help another along the way. I didn't know this, but my mom has heard me talking, we're just a wall away. And I mean, once I remember she coming over, he said to me, Karen, you've been doing this forever. You can't remember, but you wouldn't know this, but when you were 4, she said, there was a big woman that would come from the market every day and you would chat with her. And I would keep saying to you, leave the lady alone. And the woman would constantly say, let her talk to me. I enjoy her. I look forward to her. And you could be doing things for years, because at 4, who the heck do I know? I can't remember telling the lady, hey. But my mom said to me, she looked forward to having conversation with me every day when she comes from the market. I don't know what we spoke about, but it probably brings some sort of joy to her that she enjoyed speaking to a 4-year-old.
Well, I think when we are young like that, we speak truth because we don't know anything else.
True.
like a 4-year-old will say, why are you fat? I'm like, oh my God, she's right. You know what I'm saying? They just have no filter.
No filter.
And maybe it's okay not to have a filter.
Yeah, my 4-year-old says to me, Grammy, why is your hair looking crazy? I'm like, what do you know what crazy is? Just have no filter.
No filter, yes.
And you can get revelation when there's no filter.
Yes. Probably
Like, because
you walk away from the kid, right? You go back and you start examining.
Because all of the nice people are like, oh, you look cute today. And you put on 30 pounds and nobody wants to tell you that you've gotten bigger.
You see what I'm saying?
Well, I don't want to hurt her feelings. I'm just going to not say anything.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm going to pretend like it's cool. And it's
yeah. And then there's the kid who's telling you.
Grammy, why are you doing that? They just ask stuff.
Yeah, we ask a lot of questions.
Yeah, you never even thought to ask yourself, why am I doing this?
Yeah. And they would just ask it. They would just ask because when my grandson was over the other day, he was asking my granddaughter, she's 4 months or whatever she is, and he says, why is the baby not talking to me? And we were like,
Yeah.
Never thought to ask that, did you?
Yeah. I mean, like, she can't talk yet, but, he's 4, so.
Yeah.
He wants.
He said she can say something. Open up your mouth, girl.
He's like, talk to me, right?
Okay. You've been talking to everybody else, even if it's a goo-goo gaga. Can I get a goo-goo?
Yeah. all he gets is wah, wah, wah. He's crying, right? That's all
He's cool with that. I just want to hear your voice. And that's a good thing.
Yes, so.
Caren, I want to encourage you to keep telling the stories, because even though they happened a while back, somebody's going to hear the story about the orange and how you sold the sections of the orange and you changed a person's life by selling an orange.
And that's my mantra. Tell me a story, because I'm going to remember a story. I'm not going to remember the statistics. I'm going to remember blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to remember that story. And that's what the master teacher did. He used stories.
It's so true. And, if we're talking about stories, I can't remember it was who, because I was off the air for about 4 days. This is me back since Thursday. I was off. Just needed a break. And then I think it was last week or it was last month, sometime last month. Somebody online that I communicated with, she was telling me why she remembered me. And I totally had forgotten I'd done a live. And I was telling some story about mindset and what have you. She goes, every time I think about this, Karen, I remember you. Because you're right, Terry. People remember the story you told. Mm-hmm. People remember. Mm-hmm. People remember. And then what we talk about, but mostly about the story and how it intertwined and how it made sense.
And then there's always a lesson learned in the story. Yes. And you don't always get the feedback from the impact of the story.
Right.
Because I know when I started with the state in Pennsylvania, I was young, hadn't started a family, whatever, but I had an encounter with a woman, and she had a young child, and I asked her, so where are you going to be when this child is ready to go to high school? Don't you think you need to be about the business of getting some kind of career, da-da-da. Girl, fast forward, 15 years later, I go back for the hearing with the commission. They fly me back from California. And here's this woman, she's got a PhD, she's teaching at Penn State, her daughter's getting ready to go to high school, You don't know what that orange is going to do for people. You don't know what that sentence is going to do. So it's important what we speak into people's lives when we're in the marketplace.
So true. So true. So true. And so today we're talking about Money 101 and all these stories that surround it. So because we're talking also about money, number 2, we're going to talk about the money principle. I'm going to share the screen on the money principle, and we're going to talk about it again today. Anything else before I share the screen?
No, share away. Share away. No, keep going, share.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, so here we go, share. All right, we good?
Mm-hmm. Yep, we can see it.
All right. So, Karen, I've got 13 money principles. I got more than that, but really truly, we got the 13 money principle mainly that I focus on. And this 5 principle is what I use as part of my freebie as a giveaway. And so I'm going to talk about it today again, and we're going to read about it. We're going to go down the line, read about it. Let me move it up a little bit so that I myself can be able to.
And you can hit that view for full screen. Just go ahead. You're good.
Yeah, I'm good. Okay. All right.
I don't want you messing with anything because it might go away. Okay. Chill. Okay.
Yeah, let's talk about the 5 money principles. The top 5 that I like. I love. Always keep money in your purse. $20 to $100. A very good rule of thumb. I know that plastic is in. I understand that people don't need to keep money in their wallet. That's what they tell you. I want to change that for you. It's not because you're worshiping the money. It's just because it gives you this sense of knowing, you can pay for something. I'm going to read what I wrote, but I'm going to give you some physicality of it. It makes you know you can pay for something. You don't feel like you're struggling. Every time your mind says to you, I'm broke and I have no money, you can rebuke and say, no, I've got $20 in my purse. There's $40 in my purse. So you're lying to me that I don't have any money. I've written here, it's totally for the purpose of having your mind understand the law of keeping. And it is true. If you have money, more money will come. I don't care if it's 10 cents, more will come. You see, if money has always escaped your hands, then you have not learned this law. where money is concerned. Therefore, keeping it in your purse or wallet allows you to practice this small but important step of money management. All you're doing is managing your money. Get to understand that you don't need to spend to broke, whether it's in your purse or in your bank account. You don't need to have zero in your bank account. If it's happening, you need to find a way to change that. And if I know everybody tells you not to have that cup of coffee, well, maybe you should have the cup of coffee, but just not 5 days a week. Have it 3 days a week or 2 days a week, so that you can add the money up to get it to $20. I want you to get it to $20, no less. Make that a goal to keep $20 in your pocket or to save towards the $20. There's no shame in saving towards $20. I know you can save towards bigger amounts, but there's no shame in picking 20 days to save $1 a day to get you to $20. At the end of the month, you would have $30 if you went through the whole month saving $1 a day.
Did you hear that, Fran? Mm-hmm. That sounds like something for the class.
I like that. I think it's very doable.
Exactly.
It's very doable. It's very doable. And ladies, anytime you want, you can take this and just go serve it up to the class. No problem there. It's a freebie. I give it away anyway.
Thank you. And then, Caren, and for doing that, I want to create some slides for you.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm going to edit those. Go ahead.
No, we're going to create these slides because you can do this as a teaching somewhere else, and you'll have the slides. These are your notes, but you'll have the slides to share with people. It'll be very beautiful, and then you will do that. You can still offer this as a freebie, but you will have in your arsenal a way of doing your to present your stuff, and that's no charge to you for that.
And so right into number two. Allocate 10% for saving, 10% for giving, and another 10% for investing.
I like that.
And the reason we're doing 10%, and you can do 5%, but if I say 5%, I am allowing you to go backwards. 10% really starts you off, because once your mind starts understanding that, you will want to increase to 15 and 20%.
And 10% is an easy.
It's an easy number. And that's,
you know what I mean? It's easy.
It's a no-brainer. This is a no-brainer. The 10% is really the no-brainer. Now, I understand sometimes you don't have the 10% for investing, but once you keep allocating a savings of 10%, then eventually you can turn that into part of that, maybe cut it in half and put that into your investment, if at the moment you can. But strive for the 30%. And this simply means that you get to live off of just 70%. That's why we're doing the 30% the way I set it out here. The second step in our principle is to have you thought ahead. Well, you could see this here. I got to go back and correct it. This is not the one I hand out. This is the one that's in just Google Word. The edited one that I give to people in the PDF. I did rectify. And this what you're seeing here directly come from me. My thoughts were happening, and I wrote it as my thoughts were happening.
And that's perfectly fine.
This is before I went in and edited and turned it into.
Okay.
You guys have seen the raw.
Hey, we don't mind.
Yes. About personal living and business for now and in the future. Saving is a must when we are planning. Giving not only feels good, but it also part of receiving factor in life. Because every time you give, the receiving factor is how you feel. You get this really great feeling that you've helped somebody do something that they couldn't do for themselves. Mm-hmm. If we want to build wealth, as we improve ourselves, we have to first invest in ourselves, then our businesses. Investment can take so many forms, and this is one of the simplest ways to begin, by investing in self. And this is investing in self. Giving is investing in self. Investment of itself, and saving is investment of itself. You give this sort of peace of mind. You know, we might be going through different things, but God don't want us to always feel troubled. Because when we're always troubled, we can't think clearly. We can't figure out things as well as we could if we, find that part of us that has that peace. We know things is going to happen to us, but mainly to be able. One of the easiest things that I ever did in my life, really and truly, was just walk. And it was one of the hardest things I first did in life. But one of the easiest things I did was just walk. Walk and really walk away all the things that seem so big and burdensome. Become nothing because I just walk, meditate, and simply, I told them, I never knew to pray years ago. I would tell people, I can't pray for you, but I could talk to God for you. Because I didn't think I could pray because I heard how people pray. And I didn't think I was in that realm. But I can simply just have a conversation with God. And as I got older, a lady said to me once in church, she goes, you do more pray to God than I do. She goes, that is what God needs you to do. Just tell him what is on your mind. You are praying to him. But I was young at the time and I didn't know. Mm-hmm. Number 3, do not rely on the money you have today. Instead, find ways to acquire new earnings. And this is important because as humans, when we get to a certain place, we kind of plateau. It's hard to move to that next phase. It's not as hard when you start, but it's still this step that tells you, well, I'm here and everything is going well. Why do I need to go any further? And your mind tells you this. Your job is to rebuke it. When we rely on what we have at present, then there's no need to be as diligent for our future or even our family's future. I believe our gifts and talents will keep on feeding us if we are actively using them. And what better way to do so than to seek out the hidden ones? In this manner, you will never have to worry about the bucket being empty, your bank account. And, when I was younger, I could not see myself. I see myself in a lot of things, but what I'm doing now, I couldn't see myself doing it. I see myself doing and making and selling the things I do and keep helping people. And I was leaving, I went somewhere, my mom asked me to do something, and I left. I was so mad with her because it was later in the evening. But of course, I wasn't going to say no, so I went to do it. And as I left our street, I made a right turn, and I was about to cross the street, and a car was coming close, and I didn't even notice because I was just being really upset with having to do this errand. And a lady just grabbed me and pulled me back. And she said, you got to look where you're going. And she asked me my name, and we talked about 2 seconds in. And she said, this first half of your life that you're so upset and mad about, it's just your learning stages. The other half of your life is where you're going to really put things into motion. And I said to her, what are you talking about? You don't even know me. Because, of course, I'm upset from having to go do what I was sent to do, right? I'm a teenager. But her words just had penetrated so deep that I keep, like I couldn't get it. I keep going around in a circle in my mind. And she says, yes, you're going to do great things with whatever you're learning right now in your life. So whatever you went to do, whatever you're supposed to do, just go do it and stop being upset about it. And I feel literally like I look around and like she vanished. I'm like, she can't get any farther. Our streets are short. Where could you go? And I remember this, looking for her and trying to find her. And I spent my whole week trying to see where this lady comes from. And I've never met her again in my life. But her words kept playing in my head for a long time. Number 4, get up each morning and let your being decide to be brave and bold, even if you are not bold or brave. As you read this PDF, I'm sure some part of you had wished you were at some phase in your life. Wouldn't it be, even for the fun of it, to wake up deciding to be bold and brave? If whatever capacity that need to happen in, being brave, bold is a belief, then put in the action to prove it. Now go ahead and try it, even just a little. I promise you, you'll thank yourself for it later. And being brave and bold, it's hard for some people. And even the outgoing people like myself, there is times in our lives where we don't feel brave anymore. But we still have to push through and do it because we know we must. Number 5. Look at your money in the net terms rather than the gross terms. This is for the people, if you're online and you're hearing somebody's making 6-figure or whatever figure, they might still be broke and the businesses and they're making no money. Because if it's going back into expenses, if it's paying a lot of affiliate, if it's paying for a lot of ads, sometimes the owner is not making money. So you got to think in terms of net, because that's where you make your money as a business owner, as a person. Most people, if you ask them what they make, they will tell you, I make 100, 125, or even 80,000 a year. Let's say it's a job, or even if it's business. Now ask them how much is their take-home pay, and you will soon find out they do not know. I challenge you to find out yours, as your take-home pay is your net. Whether business or a job, it simply turns. Your net is the money you get to spend after all your taxes, medical insurance, retirement saving, unemployment, pension, in a job situation. Being the owner of your business, your net income is after you take out what you decide, where you're in control. And that really, it's because if you deciding to pay yourself the dividend, or you're putting yourself on salary, and you need to talk to your accountant to understand the difference in the both and decide which one suits you better. But you gotta pick one and go with it. I mean, you can try it, and if you don't like it, you can still change. A good accountant will show you how to test it out. I'm not a certified accountant, CPA. You'd want to talk to somebody who's a certified CPA, because they'll guide you right so you can understand taxes and everything and how this works. And that's important for you to know as a business owner. Even if it's a side hustle, it's important for you to know. Okay, guys, I'm going to stop sharing now.
Thank you, Coach Caren.
You're welcome.
So, this has been very, very enlightening. And I think we need to stay tuned for next week.
I want to thank Penelope and Alfredo and Patricia, Michelle, Marlise, and all of you who tuned in live, and those of you who are watching on the replay.
Thank you.
Follow Coach Caren with her Island Girl Hustle and learn some more tips on how to be successful in business.
Yep, and I want to thank you all for tuning in. For whatever reason, we were on the page. The show was being broadcast to the page instead of the group, and I'm thinking, why is it over there? Okay, but I have to go and check the settings again and see if Facebook decided to move a switch or something.
That's Facebook for you. We always have to be checking to see what's going on.
Right. They will keep you on your toes.
I say.
Keeps us on our toes.
It really does. So tomorrow we're going to be talking health and wellness, and Friday we're talking tech. We want you to please go ahead.
Jill will be on tomorrow.
Yeah, Jill Weston will be with us tomorrow, along with Robin Shimizu. It's going to be a really good interview and session talking about our health, and I think we just need to do what Coach Caren is talking about here. These 5 points that she covered with us, reach out to her so that you can get a copy of them and put them into practice. That's a change
into practice.
That's a change that you can start right now. And one thing that I heard, I believe on number 3, was that you need to do this for yourself first, because we're putting everything into the business. Every little extra dime we get is going into the business, but we have nothing for ourselves.
And that's important, because without you, your business is just an extension of you. Your business is just an extension of you. When you are not in the business, when you're not doing, most of us want to start a business so we can leave the business, and nothing's wrong with that, and nothing wrong to be hands off. But part of owning a business, you have to be in there, whether it's through your training, with your employees or your technicians or whomever. It has to have this, even if they're the middle person between you and other clients, it has to happen. when it happened, your business runs successfully. People know that these people are an extension of you. And for some reason, they know that if it really needs to happen, they can still reach out to you. That's what people want to know. They don't really see you every day, but they need to know if they really and truly need to, you would be able to step in and set their mind at ease. Sometimes it's something just as simple as saying, yes, we can change that, exchange that, depending on what it is. Or if it's a service, we can, give you these extra classes or whatever it is. They just want to know that you're a person. I mean, that's why now we have that stuff, are you a robot? And they make you type in whatever to see if you're not a robot. Just so, we know that this stuff is happening, just so we know there's a human there behind this. A human being that do it. I remember the guy on Merry Maids, or it was Naughty Maids, one of the maid service, that had the big franchise. And he really boosted himself on how the business run without it. And he said, because he bought it over from somebody else, it's not the original owner. And he said one of the things that he had to really sit back and realize that if he was able to do the extension I'm talking about, which means to talk to a franchise owner and not only allow the training to happen, but just have a conversation with them. Those franchise owners worked better than the people who he had no contact with. He didn't need to reach out to their employees or their customers, but he needed to talk to the owner. And he needed to find out from the owner how he can help, how he or she's suffering, what it is that is hard for them, and how could he be of service. And the more he did that, the better his franchise got on with their business, which means a better bottom line for his company. And that was it. You really got to really think about those things. Even if you're hands off, you've got to find ways that you can meet the people who's going to be the extension in your company.
Nice. Thank you again, Coach Caren.
You're
we'll
welcome.
Be back tomorrow.
Thank you for allowing me to be here every Wednesday.
Yes, and we'll see you next Wednesday, same time, same channel. Hopefully it'll be in the group this time, because I'm going to make sure.
Thanks, everybody, for still popping on. Thank you so much.
They found us. Thank you.
Yeah, because I was like,
it's
it's a little quiet over there, but and again, I have to check and see what's going on with Facebook, because it says it's going to the group, but apparently it was over on the page. It was really weird. Okay, so we will see you all next time. Enjoy your Wednesday, and thank you again for tuning in. Terry?
Don't forget to go to the front of your own line. See you later, guys.
Bye-bye.